Okay. Welcome to Someone Like Me, your cancer community podcast. I'm your host, Vanessa, and today I'm speaking with the beautiful and inspiring Niamh Noonan, who was diagnosed with triple positive breast cancer at just 29 years old. She's currently nearing the end of her treatment journey with one chemo session left to go. I'm so grateful she's joining me today to share her story, her strength, and everything in between. Hey, Niamh, it's great to have you.
Hi, Vanessa. Thanks so much for having me.
No bother. Just for everyone that's listening, I wanted to ask you, what was it like before your diagnosis? I know you're diagnosed at 29, Niamh, but what was life before that? You know, you're young, you're free, single. Well, not single, but
Yeah, but no, it is. Like, I mean, to be honest, looking back now, it's a completely stranger that I was, like looking back, different perspectives and things like that. I guess looking back, I was a very kind of like will go with the flow type of person.
yeah,
I was, well, I still am working away. I'm in a corporate job and I was fine there, but, I guess I wasn't happy
yeah.
and, always hung around with my friends. I love my family and, I do still value all those things, but I guess you look back now and your perspective does completely change and what
Oh, absolutely.
your
Yeah.
value and what you want out of your life that you kind of have a second chance, you do look at it again.
And Niamh, what was the signs, the first signs, like bar the lump? Did you feel tired or were you like exhausted or anything like that? Do you know when you look back on it and you're kind of going, yeah, yeah, I was more tired than usual or something?
I definitely was. I was trying to look back and those few months leading up to when I was actually diagnosed with my massive lump under my armpit. I was really tired those few months leading up to it. And my symptoms came on 2 or 3 months. And my breast, even like the puckering of the skin and the change of it, how it was misshaped and things like that. Those all came on like within 2 or 3 months after I kind of noticed I was getting really, really tired. So it was quick and it was aggressive, those symptoms. But I think looking back, I was only really just kind of tired. Um,
Yeah.
you don't
And did you
notice
know
it.
that, yeah, you didn't know the signs or anything of breast cancer beforehand?
No, I
Yeah.
didn't. Sure. In my family, breast cancer isn't a thing, and even cancer isn't, particularly in my family at all. So I didn't have anyone that I could kind of look on and know the symptoms. And I guess being 29, just turned
Yeah.
30 then when I was eventually diagnosed, it wasn't in my circle. Cancer isn't in my it wasn't in my circle. Now it is my circle, but it wasn't in my
Yeah.
circle. So even scrolling online on Instagram, on TikTok, anything, like you don't see people kind of my age screaming about it and screaming about the signs and symptoms to look for. And I think that was a big thing for me, was I didn't know
Yeah.
what I was looking for. And it's hard to know and hard to know the signs and symptoms to look for. So that's why I love
And it
screaming
just,
about it.
yeah, no, absolutely. And what you're doing is phenomenal. But it just goes to show, doesn't it, Niamh, that like cancer can affect anyone at any age, whether you have the history of it in your family or not. It's a disease that, you know, can literally affect anyone at any age.
Exactly. It doesn't discriminate at all. And it doesn't have to be in
No.
your family. It can be a random mutation. I got genetic testing done as well. I don't carry the BRCA gene. But
Yeah.
yet, young women are more and more, we're hearing about it, 17 years old. I've heard two people now being diagnosed at 17 years old. And it's
Oh my God.
scary. The numbers are
Yeah.
rising and of younger women. And I think, unfortunately, we're not taken seriously because it's a statistic of older women getting it and
Yeah.
oh, it's an older cancer is in older women. And so it's really hard and it's sad. It's so sad because you kind of want to
Yeah.
fight for it and say, sure, I got cancer at 29, I got cancer at 17. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's frightening,
17. God, it's so young, isn't it? And it's
really
just
frightening.
bring the awareness to it and stuff like what you're doing, which is phenomenal. And everyone else that's behind you as well doing it. So that's
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
So basically, when you heard tell us about your journey when you found out. You found a lump anyway under your arm. What happened
So
then?
it all kind of started actually in April 2023. I felt a three like pea-sized lump in my left breast and went to my GP. She referred me to the breast clinic and they did a physical examination. They didn't do any ultrasounds or scans at all. They just did a physical examination, said I was really young, and they said it's thick breast tissue. So I went on my way and I was happy that it wasn't anything. And 6 months later, then I noticed a massive golf ball sized lump in my armpit, my left armpit, and another lump around my nipple. And it was the same breast. I went back to my GP, and it was about the time that I went on the contraceptive implant. So I thought it might have been a hormonal cyst. So did my
Yeah.
GP. But she said, let's get you sent anyway to the breast clinic again, just because it's in the same breast. And it's a bit of a weird coincidence. And I
Mm.
went, she sent me for an urgent referral. And I believe urgent referrals are only supposed to be 10 days, but mine took 11 weeks, which is horrible to think.
11 weeks.
Yeah, 11
God.
weeks.
Yeah.
And went anyway and went in and I saw my now surgeon. Then I didn't know who she was, but she was my surgeon and she's amazing. But she said the words, "This is really worrying," and my heart sank. And she said it was three tumors of what she felt, and she said, "Let's do a biopsy, let's do ultrasound, let's do a mammogram." So I got triple assessment done that day, and she said, "Come back in 10 days, we'll get the results." And over those 10 days, I turned 30. Moved in with my partner, so it was all bittersweet. And luckily, my
Yeah.
mum was there.
You had to worry, I suppose, when you're trying to celebrate your 30th. But did you know when she said, when you went up and got the tests, like when they did the biopsies and the ultrasound on me, I kind of walked away having a feeling that it wasn't good. Did you have that feeling?
I think because I had been in the 6 months before and
Uh,
I didn't think that it was anything then going in. It was just kind of like, oh, this is a hormonal cyst. And
yeah,
it was the last thing I thought that it would be because I was there 6 months previous. And I remember my surgeon saying, "Thank God you came in again," because a lot of people would have just said, "Oh, I was here 6 months ago. They said it was nothing." So I'm so glad I did go in. But no,
yeah.
the last thing I thought of was it was going to be breast cancer. But when
So
she
bring us
said,
back, yeah,
yeah,
to the
sorry,
day when you
yeah,
actually went in. No, no, no. When you went in then, 10 days later, was it? And you
yeah. So
went
10
in
days
with your
later,
mum.
yeah, I went in with my mum, and I think I kind of had a gut feeling. I do what everyone did, and I Googled all of my symptoms those 10 days when I
Yeah,
shouldn't
yeah,
have. And
yeah,
I think those 10 days I had a gut feeling, just feeling the lumps and kind of just hearing what the surgeon had said when I was getting assessed. She said it's a hard lump. Did you have the dimpling on your skin? Do you notice it was misshaped? All of those things. I never knew that they were symptoms at that time, but I had all of those. And I think I kind of, yeah, I diagnosed myself there and then, and I had a gut feeling. And
yeah,
I think I was in shock and a panic. And I remember going in and when my surgeon kind of told me that I was diagnosed with stage 3, that she just kind of
yeah.
looked at me, but I didn't know what to say. I remember saying to her, I was like, "I don't know what you want me to say," because what do you say to that? How do you respond to that?
Yeah. And I'd say your mother was in shock just sitting beside you, like
Yeah, she
taking
was.
it all in too.
It's not in my family, like I said, and I think there was a bit of guilt around it. And I know she felt guilty of why me and not
Yeah,
her when she was older. We know that it doesn't discriminate
yeah,
against age, and there's nothing that could be done. And thankfully I'm so positive and I could get through it. And one foot in front of the other. And I'm that type of person that says, "Be
yeah.
at that appointment," and I'll go and I'll just get it done because there is that. There's a
And
lot of that fear.
did you understand what they meant when they said it at the time? Like, did you have a nurse with you as well, the surgeon and nurse?
Yeah, so there was a nurse in the room, and my surgeon told me all of the medical terms. It was
Yeah,
invasive ductal carcinoma, it was triple positive. It was stage 3 in my lymph nodes. It was grade 2 or 3. I
Mm.
knew none of that,
Yeah.
obviously. And she, the nurse was there, and afterwards she took me and my mom and kind of put it in plain English and told me what everything meant and kind
Yeah.
of
And can you
let
tell
it
us a
sink in.
bit what triple positive is?
So triple positive is estrogen positive, it's progesterone positive, and it's HER2 positive, which is the protein. That's the can be very aggressive,
Yeah.
unfortunately. And obviously, yeah, it's hormonal. It's a
And
hormonal,
when you hear invasive, I was to say mine was invasive too. Um, you're just kind of thinking, God, the
yeah,
panic and the dread takes over, doesn't it? And you're just kind of in a shock. You don't know where to look or what to do. And I was then bombarded with all these leaflets and flyers and the information. Your head is just in a absolute swirl, like it's
yeah,
days, and then
it is.
what happened when you left, when you got all the information and
So I got all the booklets, like you said. I got yeah, I got all the booklets, and I remember the nurse wrote down everything on a sheet of paper, and I still have that piece of paper. I have my folder, my cancer folder, with
God,
all of
yeah.
yeah, with all of the information in it. She said, look, you'll meet with your oncologist, and we'll go through a plan. I had to get a CT done just to make sure it wasn't anywhere else in the body,
Yeah.
and thankfully, I'm so lucky that it was just localized to the one breast and it wasn't anywhere else in the body. And we put a plan in place, and I met my oncologist, I think 2 weeks later. And after the ultrasound, after the breast MRI, it was just a blur of appointments after that, of blood
Yeah.
tests, of genetic testing, and then I met my oncologist and we talked about fertility. We talked about the plan of treatment. My surgeon had told me when I got diagnosed that so I had 3 tumors, and the one in my armpit was like a golf ball sized lump.
Yeah.
Now I know it was a cluster of lymph nodes, but um my surgeon told me that we couldn't operate then and there straight away before chemo. So I know that it's quite common that you get surgery first and then chemo, but mine
Yeah.
was the other way around. My
Mine
surgeon thought,
too.
all
Yeah.
right, okay, I didn't know that. Um,
Yeah.
she told me that the reason she wanted surgery done first, or sorry, surgery done second,
Chemo. Yeah.
chemo first, surgery second, was the golf ball sized one was too fixated in that armpit, and if she did operate, I could lose my arm because of all tangled all the
Oh,
nerves and
wow.
things were. Yeah, so that my plan was to shrink. My plan that they put in place was they'd try shrink it with chemo and
Yeah.
then operate if it became smaller. And luckily, I responded well to the chemo and it did shrink it, and I did get my mastectomy.
Brilliant. Same as that. I was the
Yeah,
exact same. It's crazy, isn't it?
it's mad. Yeah,
So you knew straight away it was going to be mastectomy all along. And like, how did you feel about that? Knowing that you're going to lose your breast.
I think that was very hard for me. I mean, diagnosed at 30, it's
Yeah.
I was just kind of coming into myself. And I think as a young woman, I'm surrounded by, nails and fake tan and getting your
Yeah.
hair done and all. I was going to lose all of that. I mean, I did try the cold capping, but I did eventually lose my hair. I lost it after the second chemo session, so it was gone from the
Yeah.
get-go. But when they said mastectomy has to be done. There was kind of no way around that. I think that was one of the hardest things, losing my hair and losing my breast. You're losing your identity, you're losing your
Yeah.
femininity. I was just with my partner not long at that stage. So I was in a new relationship, and how is that going to affect that?
And how did you feel about talking to Dave about it? Like, and did you like, he was obviously waiting to hear, I suppose,
Yeah. So
everything.
he actually was sitting outside the room when I got diagnosed. I brought my mom in, but I
Yeah.
told him it was stage 3, and he came with me to my oncologist to meet my oncologist. And I think that was really important because we talked fertility and we talked about
Yeah.
all of the treatment that was going to happen over the next year. And we were living together at the time. We had just moved in together. So it was a lot
Yeah.
to take on for him as well. Typical man, he doesn't talk about his
Yeah.
feelings, but I know he
Yeah.
we've talked in depth about it as much as can be, and the plan was to get me healthy first, and we'll come to that bridge of fertility when we do, and I'll be on treatment for the next 5 years.
And Neve, to be honest, I have met so many women who have went on after it and had, healthy babies. So,
I know, it's
there
so
is that.
inspiring.
You're
Yeah,
young, you're very young, so you have that at you. Where for me, I was 40 and I didn't have a chance. It was again, didn't want to wait either, like you. So, and I was single at the time, so that wasn't an option. So to me, that was that's a big loss for me.
yeah, yeah.
But for other women, there is hope, and there is lots of women that go on to have babies and a life after it. Isn't that it? Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So it is something that hopefully will happen, and if not, the main plan was to get me healthy, and
Yeah, of
we're
course.
healthy, and we're here, and we're advocating for it. So that's the main thing.
Yeah. And how did you feel? Tell me about the day of your surgery. Because, I was looking at my breast saying goodbye to it. And, when you walk in, they have all the
Yeah.
markers on it.
Oh my God, I know. I wore a white sports bra in. I completely
Yeah.
forgot they have to mark me up,
Yeah.
and I can still see all the pen on it, even though I've washed it 1,000 times. But
Yeah.
it's kind of sentimental, so I keep it. Um, but I remember that was a really tough day, and I went in and could not stop crying. I kept
Yeah.
looking down, like you said, I kept looking down my surgical gown, just looking at my breast. I don't think I've ever looked at it so much. Um, and I went into the kind of, the waiting room before you go into the surgery
Yeah.
room, and I was just waiting there, and I just couldn't stop crying. And they wheeled me into the surgery room, and I remember my surgeon, and she's amazing. And she's the one that diagnosed me, but she's been amazing throughout my journey.
Yeah.
But she held my hand as I was being put under, and she said, "It's okay, you're gonna be okay." And we both cried, and
Yeah.
I cried being put under, and I recovered really well from my surgery. And I'm very glad that I took that recommendation from her of getting the one gone first, and crossing that bridge with reconstruction down the line, because that was the best thing for me at the time. And everyone is unique, and anyone that is listening, it's your body, and everybody goes through a unique experience, so it's hard to kind of compare. So I'd say if you are going through it and looking at mastectomy or lumpectomy, it's completely individual, so don't compare.
Yeah. Absolutely. I remember when I was looking at my breast and my surgeon, he was amazing as well. And I was like, I'm just saying goodbye to my breast. And he was like, yeah, but Vanessa, when you wake up, you won't have cancer. It'll be gone. And I just remember thinking, yeah, that's very true.
It was a
So,
bittersweet day. Yeah, you say
yeah,
goodbye to your cancer. Sorry, you say goodbye to your breast, but you say goodbye to cancer as well. So
yeah. And how did you feel when you woke up flat like?
it was very hard to look down.
Yeah.
Obviously there was a inflammation, and there was bandages and stuff, but it's very hard. Even I I was thinking about the weight balance, like, like
Yeah.
but yeah, and I didn't know how I felt about wearing a prosthetic or anything like that. So I eventually did heal, but taking off the bandage for the first time and seeing it just as a scar, it was a very hard day,
Yeah.
very fresh. I can remember it so well. It wasn't long ago, but it's so vivid in your mind. Those little things stick out. I think that was one of the hardest, is losing your breast. It's a part of you. We're
As
lucky.
honest, you're so brave coming on and talking about Neve. Like it's only been like, a couple of months ago, really, isn't it? And to be able to come on and share that and to help others is just phenomenal. Like fair play to you. Really, really appreciate
Thank you.
that. You're helping
I
so
think
many people, you
you.
know?
I think the way I kind of get to my sharing the scar and everything like that, like I have no problem sharing pictures of my scar, and
Yeah.
showing videos of it, because when I looked it up, I couldn't find, I didn't know what I
Yeah.
was going in for, so I do share all of those things on my social media and photos of my scar, because it's normal. It's normal when you're
Yeah.
getting a mastectomy, and I think you want to know going into it, and you want to know what I'm going to look like and how I'm going to feel. It's
Yeah.
very hard to look in a mirror after, and you do things for you. I planted a lemon seed the day of my mastectomy to remember it, and I did a cast, like a pregnancy cast on my
Yeah, I thought
boobs,
that was
and
brilliant.
yeah,
Tell the people about that.
I did I think it was Amazon. I bought just like a pregnancy casting that you can buy. I just did it on my boobs, and you just basically like wet it. There's instructions. You just wet it and you make a cast of your breasts, and I just painted it and made it kind of like a creative outlet for me. So I'll always have them. But you can
Yeah.
see they're very misshaped. So
Mine was the same. I didn't realize that one breast being, bigger than the other was a sign. I didn't have
yeah,
the dimpling or anything like that, but it's great. I have a shoebox and it's like it's hidden in the back of my wardrobe and it's got all of my, the little hat that you wear to keep your head warm and
yes,
all the little tags that you have when you're, going through the chemo and radiation and some photos, some Polaroid photos. So whenever I'm having a hard day or a really stressful time, I go to that little box and think, you know what, got through this, you can get through anything.
absolutely. It's a victory box. It's not a victim box. It's a victory
Yeah.
box. Yeah,
Well, I love that. That's
yeah,
actually really good.
yeah.
But and how did you handle the changes to your body, like you were saying, with clothes and everything like that? It's just totally strange, isn't it?
It's
You
very
wake up, you
strange.
put your old top on, and you're like,
I know. I still struggle because I have one prosthesis and one normal breast, so I still struggle to find, because you can only wear your mastectomy bra, like, so I still
yeah,
struggle with kind of what I can cover and what I can wear. And luckily I've only gone through it. I went through it last August, was my mastectomy, so I've only gone through winter. So
yeah,
I haven't gone through summer yet, so we'll see. But
no,
I only recently bought like a strapless mastectomy bra online, so, and that's great. But yes, I didn't know. I know, neither did I. I was looking for one to wear a dress with, so but it is really hard to look in the mirror, and even still, nearly a year later, it's still hard to look at yourself and be confident in yourself, because you're missing a part of yourself, and you look down, you're always going to be reminded of that.
yeah.
I mean, easier said than done to try and be kind to yourself and give yourself
Oh,
a
it took me a long time. I'm still not 100% because
absolutely.
I'm like you. We're waiting for the dye flap. Yeah, they call that the VIP of the breast
Oh, really?
reconstruction. Yeah, because it's your own tissue, so it kind of how it grows with you, So as you
Yeah,
age and stuff like that. So,
it would be
but
great.
did you see any photos of it though? I got a bit terrified when I went in and my surgeon showed me. Like they literally to take the photos of people that have just come out of surgery.
He showed me a few, but I feel like he showed me a few good ones. Um,
Okay, probably a bit healed would be
yeah,
good.
yeah. Anyone that I've talked to that has gotten the diet reconstruction, they said it's
Mm,
hard, but it
yeah,
is worth it. And you just kind of have to remember yourself that, those first few days are hard, but it will get better. And they didn't want to go
yeah,
through in too much detail with me, but I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm excited that I just decided on getting that done. So I'm getting the mastectomy on my right breast and going ahead with the diet flap hopefully this year,
yeah.
early next year.
Well, you're getting the bilateral, aren't you? Both of. Well, you got one removed, but you're
One,
getting the
yeah.
other one.
So it will be bilateral. Yeah, exactly. So, and then it will be, yeah, the diaphragm from your stomach. Yeah, so it's a big surgery, but yeah, I know you're the same.
Yeah. And can you explain to people listening why you decided to go and get the healthy breast removed? Just
So for
from your
me,
point of view.
yeah, so for me, I think, I have thick breast tissue, and it's still hard, even though I know what to look for, it's still hard to kind of differentiate thick breast tissue from lumps. And
Yeah.
I think especially at a young age, it's so like I know mammograms, they don't do mammograms in a lot of younger people, primarily because their uh, breast tissue is a lot thicker, so it's harder
Yeah,
to,
it's dense breast. Yeah.
yeah. So for me, it's still hard to know what I'm feeling for. And I think I always have the fear of reoccurrence. If it could happen to me in one healthy breast, what's to say it's not going to happen in the other? So
Yeah.
I thought about it for a long time, and my surgeon told me just get the one removed and you can think about it and always get the other one off. And I have thought about it since. And I think that's where I want to go with that, and just
For
get
peace of
second
mind.
peace of mind.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
cosmetically, it will be even then, and it will
That's
be the
where I'm
same.
going
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be the
because
same then.
I've
It'll be
quite
the
big
same
breasts
skin.
as well, so it's kind of the balancing, trying to get
Yeah,
them right as well, you know. But
exactly. Yeah,
like everyone's journey is totally different and everyone's reasoning and it's kind of it's a personal choice, isn't it?
completely
Coming down to
personal,
it.
and it takes ages to decide what you want to do. And it's not something overnight.
Yeah.
And even with surgeons' recommendations, at the end of the day, you're going to be living with it. So you choose what's right. And there is a lot of research, out there, and
Yeah.
resources and information, but it can be hard. So personal journeys are good to listen to, but no
Yeah.
one's journey is the complete same. So it's important to remember that.
And Neve, how are you finding it all mentally? For me, I just went into a really, really dark hole, especially about, losing the breast and waking up with it. My breast got infected in radiation and it got contracted. So now that's why I have to go through it all over again.
Right.
So in a way, I'm kind of thinking maybe I should have just left it flat, that kind of way. But the emotional like drama of it, I know it's still fresh and raw with you at the moment. Would you like to explain it with people that are listening? It's okay to
Yeah,
feel crap,
absolutely.
really,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And I think if you don't, it's normal to feel crap,
Yeah.
and
And to
it's,
cry and shout and scream.
oh, yeah, no, I've had countless, days of sitting on the floor crying and why me?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I always say to myself, why me? But why anyone? Like,
Yeah.
why does it happen to anyone? And it's not fair. It's simply not fair. And I've known people personally that have died from it, and it's
Yeah.
horrible disease. And you have your down days, and you can say to yourself all you want, be positive, but I think you have to feel whatever you're feeling, and whatever way you experience your journey is the right way for you to experience your journey. And if you want to cry and if you want to laugh and you want to make jokes,
Yeah.
that's okay. That all of that is completely normal. And yeah, for me, I had, quite a dark time. I think originally I kind of was just like, yeah, okay, get on with it. Tell me where to be. I'm very stubborn.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, tell me where I need to be, what time, and I'll be at that appointment. And, I worked throughout my chemo and diagnosis and everything. I worked throughout it. And for me,
Yeah.
that was just, I think if I sat with my thoughts, I wouldn't have dealt with it maybe.
Yeah, of course.
And I would have been worse for me. But for me, that was a kind of distraction, and maybe that's just the stubbornness of me. Yeah, I think when I really kind of dealt with my diagnosis was when I was off from my mastectomy. I took 6 weeks off work, and it was the first time that I had sat with my feelings and sat with being diagnosed. Yeah, I got really upset, and I've no shame in it. My
Yeah.
oncologist has since put me on antidepressants for it. It does also help with my hot flushes, but
Yeah. Girls,
primarily
get
it's,
on it. I'm on
yeah,
that too. No
yeah,
fear of it. No
no,
shame at all. Get
no
the help.
shame. Yeah, no, absolutely no shame. And I've
Yeah.
talked to therapists, and I've been to counseling
I
sessions.
was going
Like,
to say that the counselling side of it is just so important because there's things you can't talk to your family about or your partner about, when you're going through it. So it's a stranger or like the app that I'm developing, which would be great, to someone
exactly,
like me that's coming out where you can talk to someone who's gone through it and
exactly,
same age and location, hopefully. Did
exactly.
you
And those
find
things.
anyone nearby around you, Neve, similar age?
No, so I think I really struggled with that. And when I first got
Yeah.
diagnosed, I remember like not Googling on Instagram and on
Yeah.
TikTok, and straight away, like, what do you type in? Like young woman breast cancer or breast cancer Ireland woman. Like, I was searching everything. And
Yeah.
I didn't know anybody that was similar. It wasn't in my circle, and
Yeah.
wasn't my family. So I really struggled to find people my age, or even in Ireland, you know, of a broad age, of anywhere. So I found it really difficult. And I remember I posted on TikTok the first kind of like couple of videos, or even like searched on Instagram. And I've found like so many people that are so lovely now, but I struggled with it. So I think the first like 6 months of doing chemo, I didn't talk to anybody that was going through it that was similar to me. So
Yeah.
think something like this app is going to change a lot. of
Yeah,
people's journeys and
absolutely.
lives, and being able to, say, oh my God, I have this symptom. Is this normal?
Yeah.
Even just to say, God, I'm having a shit day, is this okay? If I'm having a bad day, is this all normal?
Yeah, and to listen to podcasts and listen to stories like yours and from other people, just to let everyone out there know, you can get through it. It's hard, it's tough, it's God, it breaks you down, but you rebuild yourself in a way. You have to kind of find yourself all over, I found.
You do.
And you're doing that now, which is great. And you're being a voice, getting out there and
Yeah.
being the support for young people and letting them all know. Not that I'm old, I'm doing it too.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah, no, it's important. So it's important to talk about it and normalize it. And I think that's what I
Yeah,
found. And that's what people that will get this app will find, that,
yeah.
there's strength in talking about it, and there's bravery in sharing your
Strength in
stories.
numbers, isn't it? That's it, where
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
can chat to different people going through.
Exactly. And if you want to, and a lot of people don't want to share about their own personal journey on their
Yeah,
like Instagram pages or whatever. So this app will, I
it's all
think,
private.
it's
Yeah,
all private, and you can remain anonymous to
yeah.
personal pages. So
Absolutely.
it's going to be
Yeah, it's
great.
great. Yeah, I can't wait for it. Lots of work, so it'll be coming soon. But another thing, you have one chemo left, isn't it?
Yes, well, I have two. I'm in my second last one on Monday, but yeah, one
This
after
Monday
that.
coming.
Yes, this Monday coming. Yeah, so
Wow.
yeah,
Absolutely. I'd
yeah,
say you
it'd
just
be
can't
great.
wait to have it all behind you.
Yeah, so I can't wait to finish chemo, and then it will be that done and that chapter closed, hopefully, and just go on and do the reconstruction.
And how did you find radiation actually?
So radiation for me, I think it was really long. I had 20
Yeah.
sessions. Yeah, 20 sessions. And I think I was just really tired. I know people say you get tired. I was told I'd get
Exhausted.
tired. Yeah, I was told I would get
Yeah.
tired and moody. I mean, maybe I was moody, but for me, I was so tired, falling asleep all over the place. But yeah, it was long. I moisturized, I did everything that they recommended. So thankfully I didn't have any
Yeah.
permanent damage. Well, I have damage since radiation. Radiation is like the gift that keeps on giving. You find symptoms
Yeah.
and side effects months later, like fibrosis and, all of those good things that go along with it. But
Yeah, the usual drama with it. I found it really daunting because when you're there and you're getting the little tattoos and you see the screen and you're looking at yourself, I found that really overwhelming.
yeah,
It's strange how it affects everyone so differently. I was
it
nearly
is.
feeling panicky, you know?
I had a few like panic attacks on
Yeah.
the radiation thing. And I think as well, like you're lying there and your top is off. You feel so vulnerable, and people are
Yeah.
marking you up like you're like a pincushion
Yeah, and
almost,
you
you
can see
know?
the reflection on the glass.
Yeah, it is horrible. You're so vulnerable, and like they're great. The teams
Mm,
that do it are great, and mine were so lovely. But
yeah.
it's very vulnerable. It's just one thing after the other. Yeah, it's a blur looking back on those different chapters, isn't it?
Isn't it? It's like when you first hear the word cancer and when you're going through it all, like you're literally, when you hear the word cancer, you think death, don't you?
Yeah, you
Like,
do.
honestly, and people are afraid to say the word cancer. But luckily, there's so much that they can do now. And so many people I know, there's women that I've talked to, and they've been 20 years ago when they're diagnosed and they're fit
Yes,
and healthy. So there is so much out there just to let people know that are starting their journey that, and like you nearly finishing it, Niamh, that there is life after it. It's
and
not,
there's so many advancements now, thankfully, and
yeah,
coming a long way. And there's a lot of people, that have cancer and they're living with
yeah,
cancer, but and that wouldn't have been heard of, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. And so
yeah,
there is huge advancements, that
yeah,
great people are doing. But it's yeah, for anyone going through it at the moment, it is tough. Like, it won't lie, won't
very,
sugarcoat
yeah,
it. Yeah, it is tough, but you can get through it. And look, we're here talking about it, after our journeys, and
yeah.
it
And
is
do you
very
think
tough.
it's changed you? Do you think that you've made you a bit
Absolutely.
stronger person? You know?
Absolutely, it's definitely, and I know a lot of people, like in my family and friends, have said, like, God, you're so much more confident even like afterwards. And I think, even though I think, because I think I'm able to speak about it and my own experience, and I think as cliche as it is, you do realize life's too short and, do the things you want to do. And, no one's going to judge you for anything that you do. And, no one actually minds and matters that you go out and do your own thing. So, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
changed me, I think, for the better for myself. And, it's given me kind of a voice to, advocate for other people and younger people. And I think that's the positive I'm taking out of my journey and my diagnosis is what I can do for other people being diagnosed, and that's what I hopefully want to do. So
No, and you're doing a great job. It's phenomenal, like getting
thank
out
you.
there with your TikToks and you're there doing this support. You were doing the thing up in Dublin there. Can you tell
Yeah,
our listeners a
yeah.
bit about that?
So yeah, one of the senators, Teresa Costello, is advocating for younger screening for women and just sharing about, that it's more and more people are being diagnosed younger and even we're being dismissed because of our age. So a few of us are trying to get behind and speak to the Minister for Health and share our journeys and share our letters of, we're
Yeah.
not just a vague statistic anymore. It's happening and it's present and it's real, and we're just trying to get our voices heard and
So
campaign for that.
anyone listening, please sign. There's a petition, isn't there, going around?
We have an Instagram, Too Young to Be Heard, and we're advocating for that. So if you follow and want to share your story, we're sending them all to the Minister for Health. So it'd be great.
Yeah. Brilliant. So what are you going to do when are you finished your treatment altogether now?
So my
Chemo,
last
last
chemo is
chemo.
this
Yeah.
last chemo, 7th of July. I can't wait. Um,
Yay!
which is mad because my chemo that I did last year was actually finished on the 8th of July. So it's a mad kind of, I don't know, sentimental thing that those dates in July. But 7th of July this year, I'm finished my chemo, and I'm gonna have a big party and near the end of July and just celebrate my friends and family of finishing that final chapter,
Yeah.
being done
I'm
with
not
it
sure
then, hopefully.
if we actually mentioned, sorry for our listeners. So Niamh had chemotherapy first, and then you had the surgery, but after surgery, they recommended you have more chemotherapy, just to
Yeah,
make
so
it clear in case people are,
yeah,
yeah. So
touch on
you've had
that. So
double whammy. God.
double whammy, yeah. So I had 6 sessions of TCHP chemo, which is very aggressive. The symptoms were horrendous, but I got through them. And then, yeah, my mastectomy, then
Um,
radiation. And then when I got my mastectomy, they do a biopsy of your cells just to see if the cancer is still there. They did find evidence of cancer still in mine. So they wanted me to do a further 14 sessions of chemo on a different chemo. Thankfully, it's not as harsh. It's like a chemotherapy, immunotherapy kind of mix. And I just get really, really tired, fatigued, aches and pains, all the usual.
yeah.
But thankfully, it's not as harsh. So I was told I had another 14 sessions of that to do. And honestly, like I thought after my mastectomy, that would be it. But no.
I
So
was just
it
going to
did
say
hurt me.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did get me
It
down,
must, yeah.
and 14 sessions, and I'm every 3 weeks. So it was the guts of another year of treatment. But yeah, second last one. So I have my 13th
Yeah.
session coming up, and I can't wait to be done. But like that, they just wanted to make sure everything was gone. So, I'm thankful that
Yeah.
they're so great
Sure.
with being
Yeah.
so pernickety and thorough with treatment
Yeah.
and everything. So once you're kind of in the system, they do look after you, which is great. And nothing but good
Yeah.
things to say about my team. They're amazing.
Oh, same as, yeah. That's the thing. Once you're in the system as well, for listeners, like you're so monitored, you're so minded, So just the main thing is to listen to your body, and just kind of make sure you go and talk to your team. They're there to support you along the way, and even after, I'm 5 years now, and I have anything, I pick up the phone, and speak to them. They all know me,
Yeah, but you
But
have to, and I think it's important, like you said, advocate for yourself because you're going to be the
yeah,
only one that knows if there's any problems. And I rang the oncology ward many times at 3 a.m. in the morning saying, "Oh my God, what's wrong with me?" And they,
yeah,
reassured me. But that's what they're there for, and don't be afraid to speak up. And they've heard it all before. I've rang them with
yeah.
really horrible stories, so it's part and parcel. So.
Absolutely. But no, it's been a roller coaster of a journey, but I'm just so grateful for you coming on and doing this and letting everyone know, and you're nearly there and put it all behind you and go and look forward to your amazing life ahead of you,
Yeah,
you know,
thank you. Yeah, I will.
and you'll be helping others along the way, I'm sure.
Definitely. Yes, we both will. Yeah. But
Yeah,
thank you so
yeah,
much for having me on. Like, it's so lovely to share my story, and I'm grateful that, your listeners can hear my journey as well. So it all helps.
yeah, absolutely. Well, until next time, guys, we'll say goodbye to Niamh and I will talk to you soon.
Thank you.